The following segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Do you feel poorer today? If you do feel poorer, it's because you are. If you don't feel poorer, you will because you are. Because right now in Washington State, I would argue really across the country, money isn't going as far. But also at the same time in Washington State, we have a confluence of costs for working class people that are having a substantial impact and will continue to have a substantial impact on their ability to get by. And I think it's really getting to a critical point for some families. Washington State still has the highest gas prices in the nation, and that is a big deal. When you stand in front of a pump and it's going to make or break your budget to figure out how much you can afford to put in your car, not to mention the impact that it has on prices at the grocery store. And I actually remember I told you guys to shout your gas prices? Well, thank you for some of you for sending in a video shouting your gas prices and thanking Jay Inslee for the carbon tax, which has led to the increases at the pump.
$98.82. Thanks, Jay Inslee.
Renton Highlands, $93.32. Thank you, Jay Inslee.
Thank God I live in Idaho where gas is affordable, right? Right.
Right.
Not Washington. Not Washington.
Rub it in, rub it in. I had to include the Idaho video because I thought that was funny. Rub it in, very true. But look, you know, our gas prices have never been the highest in the nation. And now they are. And 6 months into the cap and trade program, which was Governor Jay Inslee's baby, which Governor Jay Inslee, which Democrats who voted for it, even the Department of Ecology said up and down would not raise gas prices substantially, maybe pennies. And now here we are, 45 cents, 46 cents up. And it is indisputable that that tax and that program has raised costs for working families. And then you combine that with, in case you didn't hear, your next paycheck will be smaller because the long-term care tax has started. A long-term care tax that people don't want, that a lot of people are never going to need or use. And so starting on July 1st, so starting Saturday, there is a payroll deduction on your paycheck of 58 cents per $100 you make. 58 cents for every $100 you make. So that's an additional, for some people, $300, $400, $500 a year out of your paycheck at a time where other expenses like the cost of groceries and the cost of gasoline are going up as well. Now, for people who are doing well financially, yeah, this might not hurt them. But for working class people, the people who, gosh, Democrats, how often have they talked about our backwards tax structure, how it's hurting the working class and the poor even more, and then you go and pass things that raise the cost of fuel. It doesn't make any sense, and that take more money out of the paychecks of working class Washingtonians to pay for something that they may or may not benefit from 30 years down the road. And by the way, the maximum benefit, the maximum payout as a Washingtonian that you're going to get after paying into the long-term care program is $36,500. How many months of long-term care you think that's going to pay for? 3? 4? And then what happens when that $36,500 is gone? It's not going to do anything for people. And you made it nearly impossible for Washingtonians to opt out of it. So now again, you have this confluence of costs. You have increases at the pump, thanks to Governor Jay Inslee's carbon tax. You have money coming out of your paycheck, effective this past Saturday, thanks to the long-term care tax that a lot of people didn't even have an opportunity or an option to opt out of. On the show last week, we had in Senator Curtis King, a Republican, who was just baffled, as am I, by why Democrats would be doing all of this, and even more than that, why they seem to get away with doing it.
Why are we doing this? At a time when people are struggling to put food on their table, we're going to take another 0.58 out of their paycheck. And then we're also going to hit them with a 45 to 50 cent increase in gas that can I afford it? I don't like it, but I can afford it. Yeah. I can live with it.
Yeah.
But what about the guy making $25 an hour or $15 an hour? Well, 16, I guess it is. What about them? They're the ones that are going to struggle. Do I hear any worry about that from the governor and the others that voted for this? Not a bit.
Not a bit. And how can you be in public service? How can you work as a public servant and not worry about that every waking hour of every day, especially when you're someone like the governor who has championed these programs, or Democrats in Olympia who voted for these programs, who voted for these taxes, who are taxing working class people to the point where they have to make some difficult decisions in their lives. And I wonder, don't you know what that's like? Do none of you know what that's like? That segment was brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org.